You are entering E&C's Pod of Awesomeness.
All right, so here's the deal. I have not, turned on a TV. I haven't seen anything. I haven't talked to anyone besides, sadly, you and Beth.
Luckily,
and
you.
My kids.
Yeah.
And we're like an old married couple, I've realized now, too.
Yeah.
So we're filming the E&C show season 2, and we're busy all day. We're in all these skits. We're, doing all of these things.
Yeah.
We get to dinner at night. We don't say two words.
We just
to
have
each
to
other.
be within each other's presence.
We look off in the distance.
Yeah. And it's one word answer.
And
it's one word answer. It's like
yeah. And we are the old married couple in their 70s that you see at Cracker Barrel who don't say a word to each other.
Yeah.
That's us now.
Yeah.
That's what we've been doing since Backlash. And so that is happening.
Yeah. And I'm friggin' tired right now. For some reason, last night I woke up wide awake at 3:30 a.m. Went to sleep a little bit early for me at around 11:30.
Yeah.
And I laid there until 5:30 staring at the ceiling, and then decided to get up, go to the gym, work out. Came back, and then we went and we shot all day.
Did you see anything in the ceiling? Because I'm looking at it, and it's stucco.
No.
And when I was a kid, I would stare at stucco ceilings, and I would see stuff in them, man.
Anyways, so I'm tired, hallucinating a little bit right now. We got the big contest. Flip Sunset is we got word he won't be joining us this week. But, but you know who's here, brother? Whoa. I heard the hoses were really mad. The Paul Smackage didn't show up. They didn't care so much about Flip Sunset. He's back in the territory, brother. But he ain't got the jam. He ain't got the juice. He ain't got the jive. He ain't got the fans behind him like me, like one Paul Smackage. Everybody from Great Pond, Texas. I'm the pride. I'm the pride of this show. He wants a t-shirt. Well, does he know that Paul Smackage has the best-selling t-shirt for E&C Pod on Pro Wrestling Tees? So you know what? You get your submissions. You get your submissions, Flip. But you know what? I'm not into submissions. I'm into rolling them up, and I'm rolling in the cash. I'll be waiting right here for you, Flip.
Wow. You know what this kind of feels like to me? It feels like Paul Smackage, he's there every week, right? Whereas Flip is like Hogan used to be.
Well, they're not.
Wait for this though. So Paul Smackage has kind of become like Barry O, where you just see him every week, and he's not really special.
Oh, he is special.
I don't know. I mean, he shows up every week.
The fans were very upset he wasn't here last week.
He shows up every week, whereas Flip is kind of like Hogan back in the day, where he was never on TV. He was special.
I think he's spinning around back this way. And Flip is
just saying.
No, like Paul is so special they need him on the show. They need him to steer the ship, to lead the territory, to put the territory on his back, brother. Whereas Flip, it's kind of like, creative is nothing for you. Why don't you stay home for a week or two?
I don't know. It feels like maybe everything is based on the wide shoulders, or so I've heard of Flip.
I don't think so.
But
anyway, so
interesting.
so we were filming. Had some interesting folks in this week for the old E&C show that's coming up on the network, and some really funny stuff.
And speaking of funny stuff, our guest this week, because you're going to put yourself over this whole time, so I want to talk about our guest this week, because
Tommy Blacha.
Tommy Blacha.
Not that Tommy.
I know, not
different
that
Tommy.
Who...
Are all Tommies Tommy, or just Tommy?
I think just Tommy.
Yeah, just Tommy is Tommy.
Tommy is Tommy.
Yeah. And everybody else is Tommy. He's Tommy.
And so Tommy worked for the WWE right around the time that we started to really kind of hit our stride, and we'll talk about it more, but he played a part in kind of giving us the chance to get off the ground. But it's an interesting story how he came to even be employed by the WWE.
Yeah.
But then you look at what he came from the Conan show. He's written for the Ali G show. He helped, create Metalocalypse. I mean, he's just...
Yeah. Now we really don't need to interview him because you just told everybody what he did.
Well, we can talk about more than that. I'm just trying to set up the fact that this dude has been involved with a lot of stuff that you've probably all watched,
Matt,
laughed at.
Matt.
Yeah, let's ask Mega
Matt.
Man.
Have you any watching any of this shit?
Any of Tommy's stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Metalocalypse.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
I love the Ali G show.
Ali G was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Conan's my favorite late night host.
Well, so yes.
Check yourself. Check it. Check 1, 2.
Before I
Well,
wreck
let alone
myself.
he's done a
yeah.
lot of stuff. So we'll get into what he's got going forward and his time with WWE. So it'll be an interesting little chat.
Big ups
there.
to Tommy Blacha. That's what Ali G would say.
Yeah. What are you doing right now?
I'm tapping my foot.
What is the matter with you? What is this crazy neurotic energy you got?
I'm trying to
going
keep
on? You just
myself
said
awake.
You're
I'm
tired.
tired.
And now you're shaking all over the place. What are you doing?
This is how I get.
You're a mess.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
You're an absolute mess. You're breathing all into your mic.
I know, man. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. Major fatigue.
Major fatigue. Oh, Mr. Doherty. Lots of inside jokes flying back and forth right now, folks. So I think it's probably time, now that we've talked about Flip Sunset submissions.
Yeah.
And we've talked for T-shirts, I should say.
Yeah, we have no clue what's going on in wrestling, so I haven't watched it because I've been fucking working 7 days a week.
No, but I will say, going back to the E&C show, to bring it back to that, we've had some crazy cameos.
Yeah.
We filmed some really fun stuff, but it has been busy and hectic, and I will create this word, bedlamy.
Yeah. Bedlamus.
Bedlamous. Bedlamous.
Yeah.
I like bedlamy better.
Yeah.
It's been very bedlamy this month. So we apologize to all of you hosers.
Yeah.
Because the Birdman's tired.
You know, we're in the home stretch here, right?
We are.
We're in the home stretch, and we'll, after next week, the things on the pod will be back to normal. You'll be getting the high energy, not to be confused with the tag team high energy back in the day. High energy.
Yeah. Owen and Coco.
Yeah.
With the crazy pants.
Yep. So
by the way, shout out to Owen Hart.
Yeah.
As always, I'm always thinking about him, but this week is always one of those weeks.
And he was a mentor to us on the road when we first started on the road, and took us under his wing and showed us some tricks. And he was, he will never be forgotten, and he will forever be missed. So.
And if we haven't said it before, we'll wait until we have Gangrel on the pod, and we'll tell the story about his watch and Owen rib. But so we'll dog ear that for a later episode. Yeah. Because that will happen. We will have the fangin' and bangin' vampire warrior Gangrel on the show at some point for a Brood reunion.
Right.
I'm stating that now.
Okay. We'll stay away.
I just did.
All right. Do you want to talk to Tommy now?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I do, because I'm tired of talking to you.
All right, let's go.
Hello.
Oh, well, hello.
What's happening?
Look at how this all worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really worked out so far.
So
far it's going great.
I mean, I'm feeling it already. Jay's on the phone with his wife, and he almost tipped backwards in his chair.
That would have been great.
It would have been actually really awesome, because I would have tried to catch the end result of it with him flat on his ass on the floor.
He could have banged his head on the ground too.
That's true, and his mush brain, he'd be all fucked up.
Yeah. Wrestler paralyzed after tipping over in chair after successful 20-plus years of wrestling. Tips over in chair.
So how you been, buddy?
Everything's good.
Yeah.
Just here in fancy Hollywood.
I know, you're all Hollywood, man, but you've always been Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah, brother, I'm Hollywood Hogan, dude.
Oh, brother. I knew we'd get to brothers pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Brother.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, brother.
Well, I don't know about that, dude.
I want to try and break the brother record. Or record. Is it record or record?
Well, I don't know, brother. Up in Canada, it's record.
Record.
Here, brother.
Whoa,
it's record.
Whoa. There he is.
I'm on.
There he is.
I'm on.
Hey, heard you almost tipped over your chair, brother.
Oh, almost. What's going on, man?
Nothing. We were just joking that after a whole successful wrestling career, you're going to paralyze yourself just in an office chair.
That would be very, probably...
It'd be apropos.
Apropos.
Yeah, I got an apropos. I'm smart.
Yeah. Pretty good.
I know big words, Tommy.
Even though it would have been really sad, it still would have been one of those, like, funny things. Like, it's so sad he's in that wheelchair. But
I mean, I guess it would have been sad, but I would have laughed really hard.
Did you know that you're on Wikipedia?
Well, I don't know about that, dude.
Yeah,
Brother.
It says right here.
Yeah, brother.
Thomas
Yeah, Wikipedia.
Tommy Blacha is an American
Yeah,
comedy
dude.
writer, such as the Ali G Show. I didn't even know that. Is that true?
Yeah, brother.
You have no idea what.
I actually like you now.
So,
Oh, was that it? Was that the tipper? Was that right on the edge?
Yeah. I went out as Ali G for Halloween.
Did you?
I did.
Ah, you know what? Now I like you. We were so close to hating each other.
I
you're
know.
not going to
that
get
guy.
one up on him, man.
Oh man.
Well, so hey, I've never asked you, Blancha, what is that? Is that like, what descent is that? Is that Czechoslovakian? Is that Russian? What?
It's Polish. It means the metal tin in Polish, or like a policeman's badge is a blacha. That's a
Blacha. I'm going to refer to you that as from
Blacha.
now on.
Yeah,
Oh, Blacha.
Oh, Tommy.
Or it
Blacha.
means also like some people would say like, it's like a policeman's badge, but then other people are like, yeah, but it's also like just a sheet that makes cookies too. So, however, you know.
I've heard a rusty sheriff's badge to explain a sphincter before. Just apropos of nothing, and again, I got an apropos.
Yeah.
Oh, double apropos.
Yeah,
Tommy, I was thinking today, how long has it been since I've actually talked to you?
Years.
It has been.
I love how you said, I was thinking today. Whoa.
Yeah.
Hey, like it was a good day. I was thinking. Man, I think, I don't know, man, maybe some kind of like fucking WrestleMania in Anaheim years after I was there or something.
No, well,
Really?
even after you left, we would every time. Well, you were in New York for a while, and we would get together. And then when you went to LA, we'd always get together. And then you just like stopped calling me.
Yeah.
Did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong?
No, it was maybe some moment in some dirty hallway somewhere. I remembered about or something. So
it's a two-way street, though.
you know,
Bird. You know,
it's just.
You can always pick up the phone. Well, as a friend, you and I, Tommy, have continued our strange relationship over the years with random weird texts in the middle of the night. And then I called you, I butt dialed you while I was chasing my kids around the house, a couple of weeks ago. And
Hey, are we doing the podcast now?
Yeah.
yeah.
This is how we roll, dude.
There's no prep.
Yeah.
We just go.
Yeah.
Oh, is this E&C?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is E&C now, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, because Vince owns those other names, dude. That's why it's just E&C,
Just initials
dude.
now.
Strong letters.
Strong.
I don't want him on that podcast. Man. Make him E&C. That'll serve him right.
By that vowel, the other one doesn't matter.
Yeah, you should have. They can have Y Rhino on the podcast, but not I Rhino. And maybe let him have one Z Taz, but two Z Taz can be on the podcast. One Z Taz isn't allowed.
And for anyone wondering, that's our Vince McMahon. At Buffalo Wild Wings, they'll admit that they often go overboard with their limited time offerings. They just can't help themselves. Take their new signature sampler.
That's right. For $15, that's 15. You get wings and 3 shareable options like fried pickles or cheese curds.
Ooh, cheese curd.
Then there's our aptly named over-the-top nachos, a literal mountain of crispy tortilla chips loaded with your choice of pulled pork or honey barbecue grilled chicken, corn, jalapenos, and more.
Whoa. Then you top it all off with their new platinum margarita. Go overboard with us today at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings,
Beer.
sports, available for a limited time only while supplies last. Please drink responsibly. Hey, do you remember, were you privy to the list of names that were potentially going to be rhinos before he was Rhino with a Y?
No, I tried to get that information, but I couldn't. No.
You're like, I need this.
Well,
I would call Gewurz and come on, just send me that list. I can't,
I
dude.
just want the rhino list. Well, on that list was the the terrifying name Sarah.
What?
Rhino was almost named Sarah.
Like Sara?
Yeah, and he was almost our brother, and they wanted to bleach his hair blonde. Edge, Christian, and Sarah.
Yeah.
What?
Because,
Why Sarah?
No idea.
I don't know.
Oh,
Sarah.
Man.
Well, I remember. Actually, I do have that list. I remember they were going to call you the Lance Stormers. He was going to come in, and then all four of you were going to be the Lance Stormers.
Yeah, that's
The
Stormtroopers.
the storm front. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
See what I
actually
did
good.
there?
Yeah.
Man.
Apropos of nothing.
Oh, 3 apropos and 10 brothers so far. Look out.
Yeah, brother. Yeah,
Hey.
that's a big word, dude.
Hey, what did you do today, Tommy?
Well, I woke up, brother. Took my dog for a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
what kind of dog?
did some writing. Yeah, follow my dog on Instagram at Curtis the Dog with a K.
Is he seriously on Instagram?
Yeah, Curtis the Dog with a K. One word. Used to be the C Curtis, but that was when he was in the WWF. Now he's the K Curtis.
So,
It's 1Z Taz versus Y Rhino. I'm gonna promote that match. Y Rhino and 1Z Taz versus I Rhino and 2Z Taz.
whoa. With Curtis
You get
the
it?
dog as the special guest timekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you always need a good guest timekeeper.
Yeah,
was
you
always-
did. The guest
After
timekeeper
Liberace,
when-
I mean,
Yeah.
So-
I know. What can I do? He can't just make him guest timekeeper. I can't do anything.
It's funny, like you came in, I guess you met somebody at the Conan show or some shit like that, and you started hanging around backstage, and they fucking gave you a job because apparently they thought you worked there one day, and but you were
Well,
very.
That's not quite how I remember it. But pretty good.
You were a consultant or something, and then you ended up writing or something, but you were very instrumental as far as because kind of came in when we were kind of
like before we get to the WWE crap, let's delve into that.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
prick.
WWF.
I thought I
back
covered
then,
it
brother.
pretty in depth there.
Yeah.
Well, we were just
then
talking.
you were around, and then we said, "Hey,
Like immediately,
Yeah.
and this is
Yeah.
also a theme of our show. He just wanted to get to the shit that you were involved with him.
Yeah.
He didn't want
Yeah.
to talk about
Yeah.
anything you did before WWF and WWE.
Now I got to read his
Yeah.
Wikipedia
Yeah.
page.
That's called narcissism, brother.
Right?
That's a big tool in wrestling, dude. You need some of that narcissism, dude. 'Cause that's how you get over, brother.
Blancha currently resides in Hollywood, California.
We already talked about
Yep.
that. So where's the,
Yeah. You're like a real life.
You
Bob
make
and
your
Doug
yearly
McKenzie.
residence in Hollywood.
Yeah.
we talked
Yeah,
about
so
this
what's
while
our
you were flipping
topic,
off the
eh?
chair. Jesus.
Yeah, actually, it's a weird story because I used to always when I worked at Conan. Remember, it was so different then. Like you wouldn't even have wrestlers were still looked down upon. It was kind of like, oh, you don't have a wrestler. It wasn't like they were on shows or it was fucking weird. And as a kid, I kind of grew up. I knew like my friend's dad was in a tag team, so I was a little wise, smartened up before more than most idiots. But you're talking like 1998, and even knowing like the lingo and shit. But I always say on Conan, like, have wrestlers on. They're better than these fucking shitty second-rate sitcom actors. So I cast like the Big Show in a bit, and we had Goldust on. So, and then Vince was a guest, and I was like leaving wrestling, and I kind of like was like kind of almost like teasing him, like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. And he's like, and he called me up, and it was crazy, and it was like, Vince McMahon. I was like, holy shit, Vince McMahon on the phone, and he said. So I went down to his office, and he said, why don't you come on for some shows and do some consulting? Pay $1,000 a day. I'm like, what? This is fucking insane. So I didn't even really think of, like, working there. I just said, like, sure, I'll do that. And then I met, like, Vince Russo, and wrestling's so weird, especially then. I didn't realize, like, if you're in the road and you just walk into Vince's, like, office in an arena, like, people don't get to do that, so everyone was like, who the fuck is this idiot? So I'm this idiot, like, going like, I don't know, and what'd you think of this? And like, what? And I didn't realize that kind of fucked with Vince Russo's head or whatever was going on. I was like, well, this is weird. So I did that for like a couple weeks and was kind of just like, then actually like producing some segments, because it was so crazy then. There was no writing staff. There was like, someone's doing an interview. Oh, go help do it or whatever. And then I was like, well, that was cool. We were in New York, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this. I had plans to move out to California, and I just said like, well, this was fun. It was cool. And Vince Russo, I talked to him. He said, just go to TV. Just go one more time to Madison Square Garden, And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll do that. And then when I went to Madison Square Garden, I remember that show, Vince said, Russo and some other guy, I can't remember, or Ed Farrah, and then said the whole staff has been stolen by WCW and we have no show and all this shit. And so I was like, what? So we just like wrote out the show in yellow pieces of paper, and Vince Russo said, I left Vince with the show, so this is all, the shittiest controversy ever. But suddenly it was like, oh shit. I called my girlfriend and said like, I think I'm going to Nassau Coliseum tomorrow, and I think I'm going to start working here. It just like happened like that. And then that show in Nassau Coliseum was the show where Droz got paralyzed. And I was like driving home, and I was like, the whole 2 days seemed like a month. It was so crazy. And then I was like, suddenly like, cause that show, they're like, oh, how do we re-edit the show? And everyone was like freaking out. And I remember driving home from Nassau on Long Island to New York and getting lost. And I got home like 6 a.m. and like, what the fuck is going on? And then just started hitting the road. And it was like another couple months before I even really got paid.
That sounds about right. Well,
yeah. And I remember Shane said like, it was so crazy. I was like, I need to get paid. I kind of was like, didn't worry about it. And he goes, hey, like look at some movies, like put a number on this like piece of paper. So I did. I was like, oh. And then they're like, okay. And I was like, fuck, I should have put
I should have got hired.
5 times that. Yeah, fuck yeah. I was like, I didn't know. I was like, at the time it was so crazy, like, million. All right, fuck. 3 million.
So now let me rewind real quick. So how does this conversation with Vince go at the Conan show? Like, what's that interaction? Like, is it, oh yeah, well here, let me get your number. Like, how does that come about? Like,
well, he was, so like, like I said, Goldust was on and it was pretty successful. And then Shane came by the show kind of almost like to see me, to kind of, because again, back then you have to realize like there was no inroad for wrestling into mainstream. It was so separate, and wrestling was still like looked down upon, like, and even it always bugged me, even the like shitty fucking sitcom writers and people that hang out was like, wrestling, and I'd be like, oh yeah, your fucking sitcom is just light years above,
yeah, it's so highbrow.
Yeah. So there was a real like separation then. So, and I was always trying to like, as far as like Conan be like, oh, here's what's really, cool about wrestling. And it was more about like the kayfabe stuff and going like, it's really a weird, vicious world and all the stuff I knew. And here's, and oh, it is fascinating. And actually Andy Richter was a fan, and we had gone to matches and stuff before, even back when we lived together in Chicago. So when Vince was on as a guest, they said, oh, you produced a segment because you know so much about it. So I got to produce a segment, meaning like, oh, here's, the pre-questions and stuff. And he was like, I go, anything we should stay away from? And he was like, oh, no, man, you can ask me anything. And actually a lot of it I don't remember, but just remember teasing him about like certain guys, like, oh, and just using the fucking lingo, like, oh, I was at the, Madison Square Garden show, and I saw so-and-so do the job for this, just shit like that nowadays every smart mark knows. But back then it was kind of like, oh, who's this idiot who's wisened up,
Who knows some of the inner workings. Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of was like that simple, and just kind of trying to crack him up and do stuff. And just really, I think the first bond I got with him was just like teasing people around me in front of him. So, just like bullying people and like, that's funny. So,
oh yeah, that's right up your alley.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really didn't expect like a phone call or anything out of it. I just thought like, oh, that was cool. And that was actually my like last week at Conan. But I always say like, oh, I yearn for the integrity of professional wrestling over this shitty fucking, entertainment business. You talk about phony or, it's not, and they could teach you a thing or two about phony, just a bunch of shit like that. And he cracked up. And at the time it was weird for someone in entertainment to have a kind of a viewpoint in about wrestling, not like today, it's just, even though it wasn't that long ago,
And that's what's so crazy. Like I was talking yesterday and we're kind of spitballing the idea of how many like CEOs and writers and producers and directors and you name it within the entertainment industry who are wrestling fans now. Like it's okay to be admitted, and also like a generation has now grown up and are in these power positions, and now it's like it's okay and it's understood that it is this kind of industry that is a melting pot of all of these things, and guys like Dwayne busting down doors and everything like that obviously helps, but it's changed. It really has.
Yeah, it's a drag. I liked it when it was secret and shameful and weird.
Shameful.
People only did it on. Well, I used to always get this back in the day, like, because I was like one of the, first cats to out of TV or whatever, to work in it. People like, that, that, like, people would even say this when I was young, that's fake, and it'd be like, well, and like really intellectual people too, like, they'd be like, well, when I was in third grade, I kind of had a little inkling that something was not right. So, what the fuck are you saying?
Yeah, why are you still talking about this? Like,
did you ever get, you're going to ruin your career or anything like that?
Absolutely. In fact, my agent and stuff was like, well, I don't know about this. And I kind of just said, I don't need you to negotiate anything. I'll do it. And, I really, my reason was like, I cannot be an old man and never see behind the scenes of this business, if I had the opportunity and didn't, so that was my whole thing of just like, oh, I'm going to do it. And so like I did it for a year, and then I kind of realized like, it really was like, marry that girl or leave her, it's like, there's no life outside of it. So that's why I left, but, so, no regrets.
So your first
regrets, brother.
So your first weekend, it's MSG, Vince Russo and Ed Farrah leave. So
that was the first. I had consulted a few weeks, and that was the first weekend where I was like going to leave, and that was the first weekend where I was like, oh, I'm staying for a while. But I actually had gone to quite a few shows before that. It's just that consultant thing. So
and then that's like the first proper, like, here we go, and then you go to Nassau, and then draws, that happens. Like, that's a hell of a weekend. So
it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, you get lost for 6 hours. Was there a point during that weekend where you went, maybe not?
Not really. I just got like so like kind of swept up in it, and it just was like, like that whole situation where Vince Russo was gone, and you had Vince McMahon, and Vince is very slick like that. So that day, that was the first time I sat in the production meeting. He's like, well, run through it. So it's like, everyone was like, who the fuck is this guy running through the production meeting? So it was really like weirdly, like, he's so smart like that. I was like, okay, well, this is it. And also to just be in that position instead of just like, oh, I'm walking around, I don't know, I'm, helping with promos. It was like, all right, what do we do? And then, started really like, saying like, oh, I like this, you should do this. And, just then simultaneously like learning and putting stuff out there. And it was an interesting time because it was growing. I kind of felt like when I talked to him about, wrestlers I think know that there's a psychology to a match, but sometimes they don't really realize there's a psychology to a card or a TV show. And those shows were getting so big. It was such a weird time because pay-per-views were still out there, but the actual like Monday Night Raw and SmackDown were just becoming like almost like pay-per-views. So, it's kind of like just bringing all, it's like, man, you need Gaga, you need everything. It's so huge. And then adding SmackDown was like, it was just like, this is fucking insane. It was so, there was no look back. I remember Michael Hayes used to be Sunday Night Heat too. It'd be like Monday was Raw, and then Tuesday it'd be like, okay, a few matches Sunday Night Heat, change the ring apron, and then do SmackDown, which was on Thursday, and then so you're all this. We would write Sunday Night Heat at the production meeting for SmackDown after we figured out like what the shows were, and then he would come up with like a yellow pad and like, who's left, and we just write the Sunday Night Heat in like 5-10 minutes. But they were great because they were really fun, and everyone, the roster was so incredible, and everyone had this kind of notion like, oh, it doesn't matter, whatever show you're doing on here, let's do something great on, Sunday Night Heat. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm relegated to that, or some people would be like that.
Heat was live at that time too, right?
And it was on MTV, and it was doing huge ratings. I remember we looked at Heat as like, okay, this is one of our vehicles here that we can use, because
oh, fuck yeah,
maybe we can get away with more stuff over here, because maybe not that, like maybe the Vinces aren't watching, so we can do chicken suits and things like that.
Yeah, and also just any chance to work stuff out. Fuck, we did, like APA stuff, like chasing Funaki around, just like the whole show, and actually they were kind of more fun in that way, where there was like, there wasn't kind of sometimes the pressure of like, oh, Vince, and what's he going to think, and it's Raw, and it was just like, and also just like any time to like, learn anything. And I think that the time was so crazy because there was such competition from WCW, and no one really looked at, at any time you could do anything as like, oh, I'm being relegated to this. It was just like everything was so hot, and it was just such a blast too. But absolutely,
Well, and you talked about like how stacked the roster was. I mean, you think back to that time, and you look at that roster, and there might not ever be a roster like that again, or a period like that again. But throughout that year, like, what do you remember? What do you remember working on? What do you remember, like, the most laughs or the most pressure, or like all of those things that goes into that year? Because in that time, that's like 7 years anywhere else.
Actually, just one more layer on that question that Adam asked. Like, when you were saying, when you were reading in the show, in the production meeting, and everyone's like, who the fuck is this guy? Who was the first promo that you wrote for or with? And were they the same thing? Like, who the fuck is this guy writing a promo with me, or my promo, or coming handing me my verbiage? Do you remember?
I don't exactly remember. I remember doing like, just like, goddamn, just giving lines for interviews. And I do remember, like almost being hazed with the British Bulldog, because they kind of said like, oh, you can, if you can get the, British Bulldog to remember to say the pay-per-view. And almost he was like a loose cannon, and they kind of were like, and I remember he had his, the British camis, and so they're kind of like, oh, and then I remember like Al Snow, oh, they have you work, talking to the Bulldog, this kind of shit. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But I think I just tried to say, like, at the time, like, to try to do whatever it takes for whoever to help them get over. There was no agenda as far as that. So I think I got by on that. It wasn't like, who's this guy? But so I ended up like being successful with a couple like British Bulldog promos, and then that was kind of like, oh, that's good. That's not easy, I guess. And then, it's just like a whirlwind of shit. I just remember like Kurt Angle, like being like, they're like, he's so great. These are dark matches. People aren't like, really responding to him. And then just seeing that, is how fucking wrestling worked then. Seeing the first like little video package where he became the heel by being like, my 3 eyes, intensity, integrity. And I'm like, oh fuck, that works completely. He's over that fast as far as like, he's a conceited new style heel at that time. Yeah. And then like working, within, I remember like,
he's so good, he's bad.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just that little turn, like, I'm like, so it was fun to be like, Vince, what do you think of that? I'm like, fuck, that fucking works immediately. And starting to some of the just great promos. Fuck. And he's from Pittsburgh. And I remember like writing things like, his thing would come out and be like, you people aren't need a hero because the place is depressed and you don't work hard, but I'll be your hero, and trying to being confused to like, why are they booing me? Yeah, and I remember writing about like, Mario Lemieux, who's fucking recovered from, biggest hero in Pittsburgh, recovered from cancer. I wrote Mario, he didn't have the courage to really pull through the way he wanted, but I will be your Pittsburgh hero. And just the thunder and remember giving it to him, and he's like, oh, they're going to hate that. And just shit like that, like working so good and just feeling those boos, at the Igloo Dome, I think it was like, just, I just remember kind of moments like that. I have to like look at a thing to be like, what's the chronology? I don't know, like the linear thing. But I remember you guys turning heel. That was fucking huge.
Yeah, I remember we were doing we did like a little sit down with Coach. He was like kind of the mediator with a sit down interview with us and the Hardys, and you were producing it. And we were talking to you beforehand, and we had kind of like a script in our hands, and I remember even kind of taking it away from us and being like, guys, just say what you want.
Yeah.
And you can swear. But as long as it's real, as long as it's real, say it. And if you drop F-bombs, we'll bleep it out. And like Adam and I were like, okay, we're over there dropping F-bombs, and it was, that was fun, cause it kind of just even took the pressure off a little bit, and just like, okay, let's just be ourselves, and let's just, say some shit here.
So how about that? How about that, Tommy? You were the impetus. I just got in the word impetus too.
Whoa.
I
was apropos of being the impetus.
to taking the brakes off of old E&C.
Well, that's the pleasure of the job, and then also like kind of the frustration or just, there was, I always just tell people 3 hours Raw, then Tuesday SmackDown. There just wasn't enough time to fucking really assess everything. It just was so fast. So in terms of like turning you guys heel, I remember like the discussions about it, and that was one that came out, good. And sometimes there'd be just people like, oh fuck, there's not enough time to like, for every time like that worked great. I remember seeing, oh fuck, what are we going to do with Chaz and Al Snow? Or fuck, or didn't have a chance to get to that, or everything couldn't be implemented. So sometimes you're always like, fuck, there's just not enough time. But I remember the discussion, like it was like, and it was pretty satisfying because it was like, well, it was the Hardys, and even really for me thinking about it so much, like, well, the Hardys are, they came in, they were such like, I don't want to use a bad word like jobbers, but they were jobbers, but they weren't like jobbers where you're like, oh, who's this guy? It was kind of like, oh, these poor brothers they're going to get their ass handed to them because they're so small and they're going against these. So they were underdogs, and then they kept by sticking around. They were so great, but remember, we're talking about you guys are like, well, you guys can't be underdogs like them. You can't out underdog the Hardys.
Yeah.
So that was they should be heels because they should just be, because if they're kind of in the same class as the Hardys or whatever, and they're all, remember you guys were all kind of like, oh, it was like friends but competitive sort of deal, and then it's like, no, they got to turn asshole, and and it's like, think you can do them? Like, yeah, everyone hates them. Look at them; they're smart asses, smart ass Canadian.
Well,
all right.
That was the whole deal too, because it was essentially like two teams doing the same things and working each other. So that can work initially for a little bit, but it has to change at some point. And I think our natural inclination was, to be smart asses. So it fit into kind of where we wanted to go. But and then
we were going to call you the Chili Whackers based on that Canadian.
Yeah, you ever been to Chilliwack?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been up there, Chilliwack and East Vancouver and all that. I'm well versed in all that Canadian.
Wow. Yeah, you know it. You know that it's like a pulping town, and it kind of stinks.
Yeah, it smells like
Chilliwack, but no offense, Chilliwack. Also, a power rock band from the 1980s.
Chilliwack.
Yeah, Chilliwack, dude.
Yeah. And I'm sure our fan base really cares about this right now.
Hey, don't you worry about it. If I can talk about Chilliwack, the power rock band from the 80s, I'm going to, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pointing at them right now, too.
Yeah.
Well, it's
they weren't as good as April Wine, but they're pretty good, eh?
April Wine.
The Canadians are really digging it. Yeah.
There's three people that are really into this conversation.
Oh, I know.
Us.
I'm so well versed in stupid Canadian shit.
That really took away from Tommy putting us over, Adam.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, forget putting us over. Who else? So you talked about Kurt. You talked about us, about the Hardys. Who else did you? Okay. Well, and you don't have to answer.
Well, I think I think it's pretty clear I'm pretty responsible for The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Of course. But who did you enjoy working with? But who, on the flip side of that, did you find? And I'm not asking to, but who did you find at least initially difficult to work with? Maybe because of that. Like, who is this guy?
Huh. Well, really no one, because at first, because everyone was just kind of like, oh, this is, who's this? Is he booking? What's going on? So everyone's putting on their best face. One thing, sometimes it wasn't so much people, was like one of my favorite things was just saying like, the hardcore title should be 24/7, and it should be, you just have a ref with you, and everywhere you go, it doesn't matter. You can just, get a pinfall, because like if it's so hardcore, and that was one of my favorite things that some people remember, some people don't. But then going with like Crash Holly, and then attacking him in the hotel room, and just all the weird things of like, even someone who's like, well, shit, if I have a referee, I'm going to go for the pinfall.
So Jerry Briscoe is it?
Yeah, it could be anyone. I remember at one time we had someone who was just like some worker we had that was almost going to be like the bellboy in the hotel. Like, he's laying there unconscious. Fuck, I'll do it. And just the madness of that was like so fun. And then, but then I remember making kind of the mistake of working with the posse and being like, and it was great for them because they were like, oh, they should, doing by anything by hook or crook to like get the hardcore title. But then people were like, oh, I didn't realize like, oh, you don't want to, get behind them. They haven't paid their dues, and there was all that kind of thing going on. So like, oh, that kind of like how things would sometimes just stop, and then I'd be like, oh, but then I would just like kind of frankly talk to Vince about it. Oh, okay, I get it. So, no one was like, Triple H could be like funky, it was kind of like reserved and weird. But you know what? I think we ended up like talking a lot, and something that actually you guys almost filled a little void that D-Generation X left a little bit, and Sean left. They had that kind of just like that smart ass kind of heel. Yeah. And part of it was like even Triple H in the long run, I would say something I realized like, oh, he had to kind of become this kind of flat heel because it was such an interesting time of like The Rock and Austin were like anti-hero heels that didn't really exist, heels that people would root for. So it's kind of like, oh, so who do they go against? What kind of heel do they go against? And Triple H kind of became that, where he was kind of like, he wasn't like, colorful heel, he kind of went into that, kind of worked good. Almost a straight man, yeah. And that's something I kind of actually gained like some respect from, like realizing that, and how he would like, oh, people don't, realize that, he was a little underrated in that little time there, as far as like, because fucking Rock and Austin were just like off the charts, with shit. So
well, there has to be a heel, otherwise there like we talked about with the Edge and Christian and the Hardys thing. If you have two like things that are essentially the same, even though Rock and Austin weren't the same, they were both super charismatic in these huge, larger-than-life things. So you need those huge, larger-than-life things to have something to play off of, and that's what he was.
Yeah, and that time was so great, because often you're in terms of writing, you'd kind of just see the show, how it happened, and then you'd go, like after Monday Night Raw, you'd kind of like, wow, so now here's where we go. Like the momentum of the show would dictate where the storylines would go sometimes out of shit that happened, and just out of like the intensity of everything. And sometimes I think that's like a little missing today, where, it's kind of like even said, like throw the scripts out, just like, it's kind of like everyone's got a duty to get themselves over, because that's like a big thing. I was talking to people even in development, like, oh, how do you get over? And I'm like, there's no answer. But I remember like even bringing you guys up as an example, and you, Jay, because like a lot of things would be like, well, people don't realize like you guys stuck around just sometimes, because like of all the little things like Jack Lanza, liking you and from like house shows, like he mentioned Jay specifically, like, that guy's a good worker, and he, like never fucking up, always doing the right thing, all that. Like, it is like a sports team. It pays dividends of like, instead of just like people, a lot of the smart marks now, like, oh, it's just mix and match. Put that guy with that guy. Like, well, people get on the shit list, or people don't show up, or people can't work their styles. There's all that athletic sports team shit that still does pay off. It's like they've got to get to a certain point of everyone's not only respect, but also like, oh, that guy, I'll never get hurt, or he's great, and he, you know what I mean? And the agents saying things from the house shows or whatever, like it all adds up to Vince being like, oh, that's why you guys stuck around, and maybe other people didn't, things that you wouldn't exactly know right away when your gimmicks weren't so hot or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot to figure out, but I think one thing that you said there is you have to figure out a way to get yourself over, because not everybody is going to be given the golden ticket and given the chance. So you have to figure out ways to get yourself over. And I think a lot of times people wait and assume that
their time will come at some point,
or it will be written that they're going to get over, or all of these things. And sometimes you just got to make it happen. Like, you got to take a chance. You if you're a rocker, you don't think Austin took a chance, with the Austin 316 promo and all of those things.
Or even if something's written for you to get over, doesn't mean you're necessarily going to go out there and get it over, right? Like, without still taking some chances or learning how to make something your own and have it connect with the audience.
Fuck yeah. And a lot of people, as you know, a lot of wrestlers make the mistake of like, I need that mic time. Oh, here's how many lines do I have? It's like you get a movie script, like, how many lines? I'd rather, it's like, fuck, look, the girl that has 3 lines, that fucker stole the show. It doesn't matter. Say less, say nothing, just fucking be in the moment. Like, I would always tell guys, develop like, and I mean this in the best way, like if you look at someone like Bret Hart, who was, you could really never be like, that guy fucking doesn't have the gift of gab, or isn't like this funny guy, but his fucking shit is like he's dialed into his promos is like kind of dull and nothing as they can be. They're kind of like, oh, I believe that guy.
Well, exactly.
There's just something about it, like where
there's a conviction,
it sounded real. It sounded like him.
Absolutely. And I remember one of my favorite things before, I think you guys were there too, was when they were the build up to the, Bret Hart Austin, big match where Austin didn't give up, but the blood gushed from his head.
Yeah.
They did this, like some of the stuff leading up to it was, like an interview, and they were in different cities and they had them both in different squares, and fucking Bret Hart got like tongue tied. And Austin was like, well, say something, what? And he wasn't saying what, but he was kind of like really dogging him.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter because fucking Bret Hart was smart enough to not be like, oh, I'm going to lose this. He just fumed. So he was like a guy, you see like a bar fight happen, one guy's tongue tied, but it doesn't mean there's not going to be a fight happen. You don't actually go like, it's not a rap battle. It's just like he's in the moment and he's pissed off and he's fucking tongue tied, and you just see him sitting there stewing, and you're like, as a fan going like, oh, I want to see this. That guy's fucking talking shit, and this guy's just tongue-tied, but he's stewing.
And you think about that, too, like who hasn't seen the instance of the loudmouth who can just talk better than the guy that they might actually be pulling for who just doesn't talk as good, but he's doing exactly what you're saying. He's kind of seething, and it's like, oh, man, but just wait for that match because he can talk with his fists,
Yeah. That's what I would tell you is if you can't talk good, use that to your advantage. Be fucking, and that's a thing that's kind of sometimes gets lost because I see even like sometimes them go now like, oh, like almost like, oh, I blew my line. Like, oh, what do you mean? There's no blowing of of a line. It's just like, you're just, some of the greatest promos of back in the day of all time are just like, Dusty Rhodes, like, what? That's wrong. What did he say? That didn't, they're just, if you were to break them down, you're like, that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't matter,
I know.
It's like John Belushi in Animal House, like, Germans bomb Pearl Harbor? Doesn't matter. He's hot. Fuck it. Yeah,
I remember watching a Dusty promo, and he called himself a soul bully. I was like, a soul bully?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's amazing. And I want to see the soul bully now. Like,
Yeah. I know there's so many things you break down and it's like, wait, he got his pronouns wrong. Because if you see, wait, what is he? That's wrong. Doesn't matter. You fucking,
doesn't matter because he was feeling it.
Fuck yeah. 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 Soul bully.
Hey, I'm a soul bully. I'm gonna come down there with the crusher, and we're gonna show you what soul bully is all about. I mean, it's like 2 minutes of just like pure rap, and doesn't stop. Just keeps going. You can see the interviewers are laughing, and it's like, "What are you laughing about?" And it's awesome. It's great.
Yeah, I get that with a lot of cats today. They'll say like, the fucking smart ones. I'm always like, things I work on now, it's like this. Oh, what about this? Let me pick your brain about this. And I just fucking can't stand those like smart marks because they're always like, why did they do this? They dropped the ball with this one. I'm like, that's unfair. You wouldn't go to like a football coach, like when sometimes things like just kind of like shit the bed and they're not good or whatever. But you wouldn't go to a football coach and go like, why did you have them fumble there in the third quarter? That was dumb. Like, no, he fumbled.
There's always
that play.
There's always going to be that, right? And like,
of course,
there's always going to be people that pick it apart. And I'd like to think it's because they care, but sometimes in that caring, you lose sight of just being a fan of something, and
you're just looking for things to pick apart for the sake of picking it apart instead of enjoying what it is,
and all of those things. And just remember being a kid when it was fun and it was all of those things.
Yeah, and there's plenty of stuff to pick apart. I'm the biggest dick in the world, but also it's like, you don't do it in that fucking, there's things you do amongst yourselves, and then there's things you do out, and there's just things you get wrong. Like when people like, when they just say comments like, I don't know what they're doing with him or what they were thinking. Like, well, if that didn't work, it wasn't that, everyone was thinking do that or like if someone, like, oh, here's the thing. They always say like, wow, they really blew it with that person. And sometimes I'll be like, that person has had many chances to get themselves over. Like I said, like it's not,
Yeah, and that's just it too. Like they'll give you some tools. It's what you can do with it. Like even if I look back and go, man, when I first came in, I had vignettes and they'd let me come through the crowd, and I wasn't ready to capitalize on what they were giving me. I was nervous. I didn't know what it was. It was a whole new thing. It was a bigger beast than what I was used to, and I was being given some pretty stout keys to the car. I wasn't ready to put it in the ignition yet, and thankfully got more
like
chances over the years. It wasn't like
in Hardcastle, was it?
No, it wasn't at all. But I look back and go, man, they were giving me a shot. They were giving me some chances and giving me the opportunity to try and fail and keep trying until eventually maybe it's not going to work, or you can, bust through.
All right, here's the scoop. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. And Edge, he really, really smells bad, so he needs all the help he can get.
Well, if you ever showered or brushed your teeth or tried to make your hair look presentable, you'd know that Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff that can help you out. I mean, Dollar Shave Club. Yes, that Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. You name it. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that'll leave your tush feeling tingly clean, Birdman.
I like the sound of that. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is included with every membership. Your membership, my membership, everybody's membership.
And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products. For just $5, you can get their Daily Essentials Starter Kit. Comes with body cleanser, one wipe Charlie's, my personal favorite, their amazing butt wipes, their world-famous shave butter, and their best razor, the 6-blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month, and add in shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need for the bathroom.
Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/awesomeness. That's dollarshaveclub.com/awesomeness.
I'm going to go try my one wipe Charlie's right now.
I smell terrific right now.
Here I come, Charlie. Throughout your time there, what things did you feel like, okay, that didn't work?
Well, Well, you know what? Some of the learning things were like, fuck, I remember feeling bad for, God, it was early on, like, and it was, and Vince was pretty sage about this. It was like, it was a match with Boss Man and Al Snow. It was like, and the ring was going to be surrounded with like dogs.
The kennel from hell.
Like, yeah. So it was one of those things where like, and this is kind of old school too. I think a lot of times, like, if you can just get it on the, out in the promo, like, oh my God, you've got to see this. But then when you start to like get into the match and you start to like really think of all the things going on, and you see the dog handlers, and you're just like, all the problems are like, oh shit. Well, we can't really have dogs in this in the cage, can we? Well, they have to be with their dog handlers. Oh, can we build a thing where the dogs are just loose? Yeah, but then they can't really be interacting with the wrestlers. Oh, so fucking people will know that it's basically a match next to a dog kennel. Oh, that sucks. You know what I mean? You can't break it down. You're just like, this thing sucks. And then I felt bad for like, oh shit, when you put people in a position that might suck, and then, cause you thought it all the way through, and then like, and then it was kind of like, look at these dogs. And sometimes wrestling makes a mistake of like, just yell louder, like it's more horrible. And then I remember the dog handlers come by, and it was just like this, oh, here's a dumpy divorced mom who's a dog handler. And here's, none of them were looking, they just were, it was like 6 of them with these Rottweilers, well trained, that were in the cage, and it was like, oh, there's no danger from these dogs whatsoever. And then like,
there's no good way for Al and Ray to do this.
Yeah, so they had to they kind of asked like, I think we got to get some color. So I'm like, yeah, at least get some color. It'll be like, we kind of like, okay, you know what? Fuck, ignore the dogs and just make it about you guys, and we'll do that. But just shit like that, where it was like, fuck, that's a problem.
Well, people also might be wondering, like listeners too, like, man, I wonder what this guy looks like. And they might recognize you from delivering the hand of Mae Young gave birth to.
Yeah. Which, see, that was a weird story, because people are always like, oh, you did that. And to this day, I don't know why I did that, in terms of, I think it was either a punish. It was one of those things where Mae Young, his shit was working great. It was, and then like, oh, kind of let's have, Mark Henry be in love with her, and then writing promos like, the older the berry, the sweeter the juice, and then the guys like, oh no, that's blacker the berry. Oh. But I remember that moment when she yelled, "I'm pregnant, man!" And I remember looking up in the rafters where there were like 20,000 people. People were like putting their hands on their heads, like in the last row, like ah. It's like, wow, that really worked. But so kind of like, I remember telling Vince like, oh, maybe she should get pregnant. And then Vince ripping his glasses off and looking at me, and you kind of freeze time. And you're like, is he going to say either, God damn it, get serious, or, aha, I love it. You don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know from that initial look, right?
You fucking never know. It's always like, I remember just like, he's going to love it or not. Get serious. Well, all right, fuck, I don't know. But, so that worked great. But then there was a point, and I don't know if it was the TV 13 or there's just some point, because sometimes Vince would talk to other people or whatever and come back, and suddenly you have a different attitude. Fine, you just have to deal with it. And he's like, yeah, that pregnancy, that's got to go. And I'm like, all right, how about, the Dudleys had already put her through a chair and, a table, and we get her in the wheelchair and put her through a table again. She has a miscarriage on the way. Tons of heat, Mark Henry, miscarriage. And I was like, oh, that's going to be fucking incredible. Are you kidding me? And then, no, we're going to end it today. It's just over. He just, for whatever reason, he wanted the whole thing over. She's going to deliver, she can't deliver a baby. She's going to have an obstruction. I'm like, what? And he's like, and you're going to deliver it.
Oh, no.
And I was like, well, all right, I guess. And then I did like the paramedic gimmick, which I had done once before or whatever. And we just like laid it out there. But then he said also to like fuck with me, which I always love about wrestling, no matter, and Vince too, no matter how big or the pressure's going on, there's always time to fucking rib someone. Yep. Which I didn't know. Briscoe, he's like, Briscoe has a gag reflex. I want you to get that goo on that hand, and then I want you to put it in his face because you want to see him throw up. So I'm like, all right. And then other people were like, oh, I wouldn't do anything to Briscoe. He's like the toughest guy here. Well, fuck, what am I supposed to do? It feels like being in prison.
I got Vince on one hand. I got Jared on the other, who's like legit amateur wrestler, could tie in knots. What do I do?
Well, it's like being in prison. Like, you got to stab Briscoe or we'll kill you. Fuck. I guess I got to stab Briscoe. No, so that was that, and that was over. And then, in fact, one time I was literally out on a date with a girl, and was in a sports bar, and they were playing. It's like 10 years later, the like 20 worst moments of Raw. It was like an anniversary show, and I fucking just knew in the back of my head, like, oh, it's got to be up there. It's either going to be ignored or one or two. And then I was like talking to her, and I was like, it was literally saying like, oh, I used to work for that or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, in fact, the clip was up, there I am right now. And it was like on a big screen TV, and she just looked up and like, it was just like this weird timing. It was like, so, and she was just weirded out, like, what? Yeah, if you glance over to the left, there, look, and then she's looking at it and just like, not like a wrestling fan. What are you doing? Oh, I'm delivering a severed hand inside of an old lady wrestler's. I'm the paramedic. Yeah. And you can't explain it to someone who's just like, not like, what? What are you saying? Well, it's obvious. I'm delivering an instruction.
And therein lies our highbrows who will see that while sitting out at a restaurant and go, well, that's clearly fake.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever hear the old phrase, like, I'm always fascinated with like the old like Memphis territory where with Jerry Lawler, at times they said that they had a 9 share of TV, meaning like 90% of this area, they were selling out like 6,000 seat arenas once a month. And it was like 90% of the people in that area were watching these shows, meaning which is insane, which is like, whatever, the World Series, whatever. Nope. This area of Memphis, 90% of people are tuning into this, which is just absolutely like it's crazy. So it was almost like punk rock or something. Like people were like, if you don't get it, fuck you. But there's a phrase that they used to use, which was like, for those that need an explanation, no explanation will do. For those that don't need an explanation, none is necessary. And I was like, that's, the old kayfabe wrestling. And I was like, fuck, that's incredible.
Yeah, and it really does kind of occupy one of those pockets in the world, like you said. It's its own little world, and like punk, like roller derby, like there's all these little sub worlds that are massive.
Like Canada itself.
Exactly, Canada's its own little sub world,
like Chilliwack.
It is to me. Yeah.
Yeah, April Wine, definitely.
Yeah, Tim Hortons.
Oh man, get me started.
Yeah, that's what I talked to Vince. That was going to be your gimmick, Tim Horton 1 and Tim Horton 2.
Yeah, like Thing 1 and Thing 2 from the Dr. Seuss books. Yeah, and then we come out just bouncing like tidbits. Oh man, we should have done that.
Missed opportunity right there.
Shit.
We also were gonna. I have my list here of stuff we were gonna have for you. We're gonna call you.
But you don't have the Rhino list. What the hell?
No, I don't have the Rhino list. Maybe we could trade. We're gonna call you Goon 3 and Goon 4. Remember from that?
Oh yeah. We're gonna come out in our skates. Yeah, except we're gonna wear Maple Leafs jerseys instead of Devils jerseys.
Yep. That was good. And then you were going to be like kind of Canadian Ted DiBiase's, but except you were going to be the Loonionaires because the money's the loon.
Oh, brutal! And we'd live in the Muskokas, and we'd come in on our boats, eh?
Yep, we're going to call you Baron Canada and the Ontario Kid. That would have been
good. So now, like, what was the final point? Was it the Ontario Kid, or like, what was the final point where you went? I think I'm done here. I seen it. I've been here. I've experienced this. I got to bounce.
Well, when it was weird because there was. I tend to explain it like this. I was leaving New York with plans to move to Los Angeles, all set, and I diverted that to work at the WWF. So it wasn't so much like, it was always kind of it was a huge diversion in my life to stop all. I mean, I had plans to move and everything, a place and all this shit. And I said, fuck that. I'm going to do this. And then when because I worked at Conan Rockefeller Center and Saturday Night Live. And then when The Rock did his first Saturday Night Live appearance, I was like his personal writer and worked there. And I kind of got, that was kind of like, oh yeah, I really want to like do those kind of shows and things. And it really kind of at that moment was giving me a crossroads of like, how long am I going to do this? But I don't want to put a negative slant on it. Like I've had enough, because it was really the opposite. It was like, oh shit, I've had this aspiration to do this other shit, and I just might end up staying in wrestling forever. So it was kind of close to being, but to give it the proper respect, I'd be like, I would stay here full bore and do this. And I didn't want to be like, I don't have a 2-year plan or anything like that. So I just kind of, at that point, like, yeah, I'm gonna, do it a little over a year, and then, then just kind of like go on with my plan. So wrestling was the diversion. So there was no moment where it's like, I'm fed up. And then I talked to Gewurz every 6 months for the next 20 years about how he was leaving.
Well, but it is one of those industries where it can pull you in and keep you in unless you kind of extract yourself from it. And that's not a negative thing. It's just, man, it's all in. It's really like
it is
this all-encompassing. It takes over every facet and aspect of your life, and you have to kind of accept that if you're going to stay in it.
Yeah, and you know what? And God, I've seen so many people, especially out here in Hollywood, of like the revolving door of like writers. Be like, well, I'll see you in 3 months. Hey, you're back. It kind of became, I think, a lot less fun with like the large groups of writers and stuff. It wasn't so like absolutely hands-on and crazy. I saw that writing on the wall a little bit.
Yeah.
It almost seems like I would much rather be. Well, I actually tried to do some promotions and start a my own thing, which I lost all my money. That's a whole other story. That's a whole other podcast, guys. So there's always those aspirations, but the big thing that it became was like, it was a little bit like, I don't know how much I want to be involved in this machine. I love the doing shows and that whole aspect. And I've had development deals for behind the scenes like wrestling scripts, but they never got made. There's been like so many of them, but I've had, in fact, I hope no one listened to this, but I sold the same one twice after like 5 years. So it's like, so that was fun. But the older I get, more I like to go back in history. That's the shit I enjoy more, and just like writing about it. And I'm kind of working on a book about the old TBS and like how pro wrestling changed TV and shit like that. Wow, so it's all completely in there but I don't.
Were there any were there any lessons like, I mean, you're already, were obviously a writer, very talented before you wrote anything for WWE. Was there anything after working for WWE that you kind of took and maybe surprised you that you applied or learned that you would use going forward in your other work?
Yeah, you know what? When I think of like, it's not so much any like, it's just like the attitude of working on shit. Like I worked on Conan O'Brien's show, which was like 5 shows a week, so it was like a good pressure cooker for kind of wrestling. And the rest of that was like kind of like some of the wrestling shit didn't intimidate me as far as like, fuck, you got to get this ready, go, shit, there's no time. So that kind of pressure, I enjoyed. It really going in forth into anything else. It's a cakewalk. And actually, it's kind of sucked coming out and working on sitcoms where it's like, okay, slow down. But anything that I've worked on that I've produced, it's just been, there's like zero intimidation factor as far as like, I recently just worked on this thing for Adult Swim out in Brooklyn. It was just under budget and crazy. It's called Mostly for Millennials. It's coming out in June, and it's just like a fake millennial talk show. But I was like, I still relied on wrestling as far as like people were like, oh my God, we can't do this. How can we get this done in time? And I'm just, that'll happen. No worries. Just like, you're just so calm. Like,
I know, right? It's amazing what a training ground it is for that. Like we're talking, because we're filming E&C season 2 right now, and we actually have time this year. But we were talking about last year how we filmed 3 episodes in 3 days. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even in cartoons and things I do, it's certainly a different sort of pressure or time crunch or whatever, but still it's like, okay, we'll get, something will happen.
Okay.
Oh, we ran out of money here. Well, whatever.
Speaking of cartoons, we got to talk about Metalocalypse, okay?
Oh,
Because, it's a personal favorite of mine. And
oh, good.
You've left messages on my voicemail that I still have. Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown, wishing me special wishes, and they will forever be on my phone. And my personal, probably my favorite cartoon character name of all time, William Murderface. Like,
oh, good.
You're responsible for all of this. Talk a little bit about that.
Just
world.
the stuff you like. Well, actually, I'm a co-creator with Brendan Small, and we just, I've been like death metal fans, and we just kind of, we always liked the band Cannibal Corpse, and we just kind of it was really fun because Adult Swim at the time was the guy just like, he liked us and he said like, yeah, man, come up with a cartoon. And we said, what if a death metal band was 1,000 times more popular than the Beatles? And that was it. And we just started naming them. And my friend John Schnepp did the designs. And we were just sitting there and literally like, oh, they should all have like, what are some names? And then we actually should have some Scandinavian guitar players. We went into a Viking name generator, and Toki Warkins was like the first name that came up. Like, that's great. And then like, we just kind of popped into our head, and we just like wrote it and just started doing it. And it was a real like labor of love. It was pretty easy, but that was pretty fun. But it also was like the lessons of wrestling because it was so low budget. It was just like cramming this shit, and how's this going to happen? And just like I was just like, yeah, just people will get fired and some people will cry and a bunch of nerd animators and everyone will be stressed and it'll be fine. If we have to ask for more money, we do. You're just like, when you're like, no one's going to hit you. All right. So everything's fine. That's been my, my thing moving forward. But I'll tell you this. I have a story I always tell that is why, Vince McMahon is a guy that you can, I would say, throw any adjective and it'll hit somewhere. You know what I mean? From amazing to horrifying and everything in between. But this fucking guy did something that I'll always remember as far as like managing people or whatever. There was some kind of thing, whenever it was like Monday Night Raw, and sometimes there'd be like a little bit of physicality backstage, and you might be taping it in between the third and fourth match. And then you got to take the tape to the truck because it's going to roll in at another point. So when you're doing it live, the stage manager who's there has to you got to make sure you're not doing something physical and then someone's music goes off, because then people watching go like, oh, this was tape. What? I just saw that entrance. It'll ruin it. So this was like, time was like going and it was fast. And it was like, do we have enough time? And, whoever, I can't remember this guy's name, let's say it was Jerry. I don't even know who he was, but like stage manager guy was like, okay, go. And it was the Big Show and Kane fucking doing something like a chair shot or something. And then it was going a little long, and then someone's music hit, which ruined the take because obviously, like I said, you couldn't see it. Like later be like, wait, they're faking. This isn't live.
Yep.
And it was like, oh, fuck. This guy just turned white as a ghost. And fucking Vince like grabbed the headset. God damn it. I'll get out here. I'll do it. Okay. Do we got enough time here? And they had to do it again. They had to do like a little physicality. And this fucking guy was just like, oh, I was like, oh, he's done. Looks like he wants to just go to the airport and leave.
Yeah,
and then at the end of the end of the night, you do a little post-mortem in Vince's office. He's like, who's that kid? Go get that kid. And I was like, he went and got him. And he said like, he just sat and said, all right, I know everyone's blustery, but when you got that thing on, God damn it, you're God, and you got to yell, and you got to, make sure everyone knows it, okay? And I was like, okay. And then the next day, in the next city, at the production meeting, Vince is like, and we're going to do this if, Jerry has his shit together. He totally, like, builds the guy up. He's like, that's our guy. He fucked up. It's fucking tough. He didn't go, like, if this guy's fired or crush him, like all this shit you see in stupid Hollywood or like, oh, you fucked up, you're done. It's just like, oh, that was like always so impressive. Like, oh yeah, he fucking, that's our guy. He built him up. So he had a lot of ways like that. And that's what I would get pissed when I work on a sitcom after wrestling and people would like shit on the world. And I'd be like, fuck this. We're in the fucking Warner Brothers lot, the fucking slimiest, shittiest, lyingest, two-faced business you could ever fucking imagine. And I remember like going, I yearn for the honesty and professional integrity of wrestling, which is totally duplicitous and shitty at the same time also. Fuck you for, comparing it to shit.
That's funny. It is funny though. You said like I always kind of viewed like Vince. He teaches lessons, right? Like he really is like he likes to do that. He likes, like you said, grooming people, his people, and teaching them. Yeah,
he's like a guy who's had like 100 kids. Like, sure, he fucked 5 up, but he made 20 great, whatever.
Well,
right?
And it because he is the kind of the godfather of it, I think everyone really does kind of under that umbrella when they're in that building. He's looked at as the dad. It's like, okay, you answer to him, and that's kind of the way it works. So. He basically has, all of his employees end up being his kids in a way,
Well, you think about it now too, like, and like in everything that I do, I apply stuff that I've learned from my time in WWE and what I learned from Vince, and I apply that going forward into other things that I'm doing. So in a sense, it's like, it's very much like that.
And that's the strange part about that industry is because you really can apply something from it to whatever you're encountering in, quote unquote real life or whatever business you go into next, or whether it's a cartoon or whether it's, you're running out of budget on, your new talk show. You can really take things and go, okay, well, I encountered this here. This is how I dealt with it there. It's just not dudes in spandex this time. It's, whatever it is, pick your poison.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me of the military. All the same phrases like, don't sweat the small shit and whatever. Yeah, I completely agree. And also, like, he was like, I always fucking get into it with the smart marks about it because he's such a fucking lightning rod. Oh, Vince McMahon, what is he doing now? He's ruining this or that. And I, or like weird shit of like, he ruined, he won't let Daniel Bryan do this. He hates CM Punk, all this fucking crap. And I'm like, those guys weren't his ideal size, but like, guess what? They fucking had titles and they were over. You know what I mean? He allowed people that he didn't like, as far as like, I want a big wrestler, whatever. Like, he loves to be proven wrong, or at least he used to be, in terms of that. And I always like,
let's face
you guys
it,
too, you weren't ideally like his version at the time we were working there of like, as far as your builds and whatever. So
Brock
you
Lesnar
overcame an obstacle.
Brock Lesnar is probably his ideal guy, but Daniel Bryan, he gave the title to in the main event of WrestleMania after beating Triple H in the first match on the show.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
That's being used pretty damn good. CM Punk has like an over 400-day title reign. Yeah,
right.
That's pretty damn good. There's nothing to complain about there. It's like there's always going to be something, but
sure,
those are good pushes. Those are good, ways to be used.
And he could be like this, like, I hate that CM Punk. Oh, I guess he's over. All right,
if it's going to make money, that's all he really cares about.
Yeah.
So, well, man, we've already kept you over an hour here. Did you know that?
I know.
You did know. You were counting. You're like, fuck, I gotta get out of here.
Where do I send the invoice for
That's
this?
what I said. You're sticking around for overtime. We don't pay $1,000 a day here, Tommy. Just so you know.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it's $1,000 a day. Well, yeah, because it's
plus
just an
inflation.
hour. But
it is. Shit.
Oh, there you go. Remember that little?
It is a 2-hour payment, eh?
Yeah.
Hey guys, how do I get my loons?
Oh, but hey, seriously though, talk about the show that's coming up.
What show's that?
Well, the show that you're working on for the millennials.
Oh yeah, that. It's on Adult Swim. It's called Mostly for Millennials. It's fucking insane. It is very much like wrestling. With pranks pulled on people. It's madness. It's basically this guy Derek Beckles, who used to do some shows for Adult Swim, but it's a millennial hating show. But it's almost like kind of like MTV ridiculousness kind of parody in a sense, but shit like that. And mostly for millennials, coming around in June. But if you fucking, the only millennials I like are ones that hate millennials, and I love millennials that hate millennials. So it's a send up of that. So it's pretty crazy. We did a bunch of like crazy shit.
Awesome. All right. Well, see, we never actually get people to like plug things they're doing.
Yeah, fuck.
With it, this is like our first plug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's our first plug, eh? Yeah, dudes. That's called a plug, brother.
Brother.
Yeah, that's when I tell you, well, I'm on your show, dude. And then you tell me to say something that I'm working on, brother. That's a plug, dude.
Oh, man.
Will Sasso, him and I have, it's almost a mental illness. We do, like, when we're together, he's Hulk Hogan and I'm shitty Hulk Hogan, like his friend who says some prayers and takes most of his vitamins. And we just do it for, like, fucking hours.
His Hogan and his Austin, I mean, and your podcast, too. You got a podcast.
Yeah, dude. Except that podcast ended, brother. Well, we're working on another one, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but can people go back and listen to that? Because it's ridiculous.
And Will Sasso's Canadian, right? So, I mean, you just can't.
Yeah, dude.
Love Canadians.
Yeah, he's from Vancouver.
Yeah.
See, that's why you know about
They can go back and listen
Chilliwack.
to all of them.
He took you to
Yeah,
Chilliwack.
brother. I make Chilliwack jokes all the time, dude. I even make Doug and the Slug jokes, brother. That's real deep Canadian. Yeah.
Whoa. If you said Ed the Sock, I
That-
would have came through this microphone and slapped you.
Yeah, that's deep Canadian, dude.
Ed the Sock.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
That's when we were going to pitch you as the Kitcheners.
The Kitcheners now.
Which is,
the
Yeah.
Ontario Kid and the Kitcheners.
yeah.
That's a band right
the
there.
Kitcheners.
I
Yeah.
was born in Kitchener, so there you go. So it all makes sense.
Were you?
I was.
Oh, what a shit town.
You were born in a shit town.
He's born in Kitchener.
Now, I know what the quote is going to be to plug this on Twitter.
Yeah.
You were born in a shit town. The E&C Pod tomorrow.
Oh, man.
But it was awesome catching up because it, like, well, you and I have talked and we've, but it's been a while since we all kind of sat down and just shot the shit about some of the stuff that we did together.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, you gotta send me. I gotta get Jay's number so I can send him some like weird images in the middle of the night.
No, you don't.
I'm giving you his number because it will melt your mind, especially at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, and then you know what I like to do? I like to have lots of late night talks, dude. Talk about life, brother. On and on, dude.
All right, Tommy. Well, it was good catching up with you. I will talk to you in another 12 years. And yeah, man. Thanks for talking to us, brother.
I'll call you tomorrow about 3 a.m. Call you every night this week.
All right, I look forward to it. Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys. Yeah, you're the best. I love you guys and appreciate it. See you, man.
So that's our good buddy Tommy Blacha. One of those guys that, I mean, as you can tell, he's a weird dude in a good way, but has worked on. I mean, well, just the stuff that he's done and kind of flown under the radar, but he just involved in so many strange moments, some great moments, without a doubt. Like we talked about the kind of letting the brakes off on us, and it's like, whoa, we have freedom.
Yeah, I mean, without him, honestly, and Brian Gortz also, we might not have gotten the chance that we got to show our personalities, which eventually started kind of separating us and making us different at the time. Like we said, with the Hardys.
And Tommy doesn't get a lot of credit for that because he was gone, after the year. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people don't realize how important he was to our journey, and the fact that we all got along and we all got each other's humor. like we did with Brian.
Right.
And because of that, we could riff off of each other, if you couldn't tell during this last hour and a half of talking. And that's where it all kind of started.
Yeah.
And just he's a funny guy, interesting guy, and you can look at his track record of stuff that he's worked on, and it's just so interesting. Like, seriously, Wikipedia the guy, and look at all the stuff he's done, because it's kind of just fun stuff.
Right. Well, don't forget to submit your Flip Sunset shirt thingies for the little contest there.
Oh, real quickly before we go there, because I have some information on that. Tommy just sent me that. That's the kind of stuff you'll get at 3 a.m. So.
Well, maybe I'll get it tonight at 3 a.m. because I need to go to bed because I'm fucking tired.
Okay, you're tired.
So.
Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that apparently Flip is on vacation somewhere, and I got word through his publicist / valet / maybe more is all I'm saying.
All right.
Farrah.
Yeah.
Farrah Sunset. They share the same last name, so
Okay.
maybe
Must
it's
be
his
married,
wife. Who knows? She sent word that Flip has been looking at the entrance and the submissions for his T-shirt.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good for Flip.
Yeah.
Well,
What you sound upset about that?
no, I'm happy about Flip. We need to get some more.
sound-
We need to get some more merch on the pro wrestling tees.
But it doesn't sound like you're happy about
No.
Flip. You
These
sound
fucking marks want more shirts. We got to give them to him.
All right.
Flip to get to work. It's pissing me off. It's taking this long.
Yeah, let's do one more week of Flip submissions.
Yeah.
I'll relay that to Farrah, who will then relay that to Flip, because you can't get a hold of the guy.
All right.
He's kind of like Oz back there. And Jay's getting mad. He's falling asleep now. He's playing with his little pompadour. You guys got to see his hair. I'm taking a picture of this thing.
I'll take a picture.
All right, fine.
All right.
Until next week.
Something Michael Hayes this week.
We
In
did.
the flesh.
Oh, now all of a sudden you want to talk.
No, I just wanted to say that. We got to get him on this pod. And we had a somewhat nice talk, and we're kind of nice to each other when no one's around. I don't really want to spoil it for anybody, but he doesn't like you. Here we go.